Welcome to C2S TV, and today we're going to be talking about leadership and management development. Our members have been telling us that they need and in fact want to invest in developing their people, but the training needs to be practical, relevant and affordable. So over the last couple of years, we've been listening closely as how we can best support this need, particularly when it comes to growing the middle and senior managers in organisations. They are typically the linchpin of any business. These managers are now expected to do far more than just manage their teams. They're required to influence across the organisation, engage with stakeholders, and build trusted relationships with suppliers and customers. The world is also much more complex than ever, and leadership skills required today have fundamentally shifted. That's why we set out to find a development programme that was not only strategic and impactful, but was also truly relevant to the real challenges that modern leaders face today. We're really excited to be working with Campbell Macpherson, who brings a wealth of skills and knowledge and has developed a programme that delivers real impact, both in person and online. So thanks very much for joining us today, Campbell. Could you start by just giving us a little bit background about yourself and the programme?
Sure, no problems at all. It's great to be here, and I'm thrilled to be partnering with yourself and Angela to do this program, and we will discuss that in great detail. My background, I've been running my consultancy on leadership and change for the last 10 years, and I work with organizations all over the world to do three things really: is to help them to build leadership teams that work, help them to lead with influence, as we will get to talk about, and also help them to build extraordinary leaders of change, because as you said, this is a world of unrelenting change that we're living in at the moment. And of course, that starts with themselves. So I work with leadership teams and leaders right across the world, companies large and small, all over the place. And before that, I was a variety of different careers. HR director for a 1,000-person company. I've been strategy director for Zurich. I worked for the Abu Dhabi Investment Authority as a senior advisor. I was even marketing director of Virgin Wine. So I worked for small businesses as an NED and for large businesses in the exec team over the last, gosh, probably 40 years now.
Thanks very much, Campbell. And we've talked both with you and programs that we've had with members recently about the Gartner report from the top
Mm.
5 priorities for HR leaders for 2025. So, and it states that traditional leadership development programs aren't really cutting it anymore. And it gives the statistic that only 36% of HR leaders think that their organizations current leadership development programs are actually effective at preparing leaders for future challenges. And 71% don't think they're effectively developing their mid-level managers. So they're quite striking figures. So
Mm.
are these some of the challenges you saw in organizations that you wanted to address?
Absolutely. And in fact, they put the numbers to the feedback that I've been getting from all of my clients. And I think those two you picked out are fascinating. So if I turn the first one around and say that 64% of HR leaders don't think their leadership
Oh,
development programs, are preparing leaders for future success, that's incredible. And I put that one down fundamentally to content. But the next one, that 71% don't think they're effectively developing what is the next generation of senior leaders, that's astounding. And that's a combination of content, sure, but they're just not going about it the right way, because leadership development programs today needs to be a blend of online so that people can do it whenever they want, but also mentoring and in person. And it's that combination of the two that Gartner then goes on to say in that report that is the winning combination. So yes, these are definitely challenges. I've got several clients who are scratching their heads about their leadership development programs, thinking, why aren't they working? What we're teaching people about value add to the shareholder. We're not teaching people on how to lead with influence, how to lead, develop their emotional intelligence, how to influence people to deliver better outcomes together, and that some fundamental changes in content and the way that it's delivered, both online and offline.
and we certainly are asking all of our managers and leaders to do a lot more nowadays.
Yep.
There's less people in the organizations, but it's much more complex and challenging. and
Mm,
without actually, promoting people because they're good at their job, but then not wrapping
yes,
around them some development opportunities about something that they may not have had any experience with, in terms of leading people, and
definitely.
particularly then looking at wider relationships within the organization, but also outside of the
Mm.
organization.
But
So,
that's always been the case. I think that that's always been the case. But what we can do now is, as you said up front, an affordable and scalable version of leadership development has not been available in a way that actually works until very, very recently. So, which is what we will go on and explain to everyone.
well, no, that's a great lead in. So, in fact, Campbell, so how has the program developed over a period of time? Because it's actually has also shifted in the last sort of 8 to 10 months that we've been
No, it
talking
has.
as well.
Big time, and that was input and requests from my clients. So 3 years ago was the very first 20-person in-person cohort that we did for a very, very large global fund manager in based out of London. Actually, they're based out of the States, but it was their EMEA office, where they invited the 20 of their next generation of senior leaders. So they were senior associate about to go to vice president or just gone into vice president, that's the American vernacular, obviously. But it was that next generation. And we designed this course to be able to give them the tools they needed to succeed at the next level. And it was all about emotional intelligence and what are the traits of extraordinary leaders and how do they match up. It was about helping them to communicate with one another in a way that works. And by that I mean they're all really intelligent, but people weren't understanding them. And of course, if you communicate to someone and they don't understand you, it's not their fault, it's yours. And we also did influencing without authority and pulled together designed a six module program for this 20-person cohort. And it included mentoring and assessments. And it worked so well, they rolled it out throughout the States, in Tokyo, in Hong Kong, in Singapore, and in Sydney as well. So that was the first version of that. The second version was a half-day masterclass, which is a Reader's Digest version of the whole of all six. And I've done that all over the world as well. But one of the clients said, could you take all 9 modules that we can choose from and put them online so that our members, this was an association, could actually do enhance their leadership development in their own space and in their own time. And that was last October. So my team and I then worked very hard until now to pull this together and launch the online version. And it's given, of course, the online version is free with the cohort version as well. So, but it's given that choice of, would you like a half-day masterclass? Would you like a full 6-person cohort version, which is perfect for the top talent, or for every leader and manager or leaders at any levels, you've got the online version. So it was a logical progression over the last 3 years.
That's fantastic. And yeah, and that gives choice to an organization.
Exactly. Yeah.
So how does that work for an organization in terms of the online and in person? Can walk us through the differences and how perhaps they
Sure.
complement each other?
No, that's a good question. So we've positioned, well, you know this because it's the we is you and I have positioned the cohort version for the top talent in an organization, those that are on the cusp of getting to senior leaders. They're the future senior leaders of the organization. One of my other clients is one of my clients is a large law firm, and they're actually using it for their junior partners to become senior partners.
Yeah.
So it's progression is a big leap up to the next stage. So that's for your top talent. It's 6 modules, face to face, mentoring, and it's with 20 people in each cohort, and it's very, very interactive. So that's for the top talent. And then the online version is not just for them, it augments what we're doing in the classroom, but also for everybody. So for every leader at any level of an organization, from a team leader, frankly, right up to the exec team, but team leaders right up throughout the organization, and it enables them to develop their leadership skills, but a different type of leadership skills, and we'll get onto that. But develop their leadership skills and have a common language and phrasing. I've had it's been wonderful when I hear organizations, leaders in organizations talking to one another and say things like, well, if you started with the punchline, I would have understood that, and I think, yes, we've got the vocabulary that is seeping through the organization.
And that's really important, isn't it? That people have,
Mm,
when they come back into an organization, rather than being the lone voice within the
yes.
organization,
Yes.
they've got other people who are doing a similar journey or the same journey. And then
Mm,
actually you can make change much quicker because you have the same framework, you have the same language, you've been through, similar experiences. And you're coming at something where you've got that shared understanding. So you
yeah.
can actually move forward a lot quicker. Is that your experience as well?
It really is, but there's also two other themes that run through the cohort version for the top talent and the online version for everyone. And that is, firstly, it's about ownership. So the theme throughout the whole thing is not just emotional intelligence, probably three things. The second one is ownership. It's ownership of delivering the outcomes. So I've seen so many leaders who particularly at junior and middle levels, that will sit back and wait for someone else to tell them that this needs to be done, rather than seizing the initiative and owning the delivery of the outcomes. And that is part of empowerment and delegation. It's actually accepting ownership for delivery. So there's emotional intelligence, there's ownership, but the most important of that is action. So the last module of the in-person um, cohort is action, and the last module of the online version is action. So whether you do whichever one you do, you end up building an action plan to deliver one of your key objectives using all the learnings from the program. And that is critical because so many leadership development programs are really interesting and get some great material, but it doesn't translate into action, into actually changing the way that I lead, and more importantly, the results that I deliver.
And I think that for us was one of the
Yeah,
key factors when we were talking
it was.
to businesses. It's about, there's an element of developing people, but there's also a much more imperative about developing people to develop my organization.
Yes,
And
yes, yes,
that
yes.
that requires action.
Leadership is about delivery through people. And to be really sort of what's the word? I'll say basic, but to do basic about it or redactive about it. It's just simply about delivering through people. And people forget that it's about, sometimes leadership programs forget it's about delivery, and others it's about even people who don't report to you. And that's why you have to reach out and influence others across the organization. And that requires different skills than we're used to, particularly this day and age when we're behind a screen, and it's helping people to get out of their comfort zone and actually go and reach out and influence others to deliver shared objectives. And that's really the heart of what the program is all about, really.
So in terms of the in person, so that is going to be delivered over a set period of time. They have also access to the online,
They
which
do
they can pick up anytime they want. Is that's
anytime at
right?
all.
In terms of reinforcing learning or doing extra development work, and that is flexible in terms of when they want to pick it up.
Yes,
And then you've got the online, which a person is free to develop in their own time. Is that,
absolutely, and at their own pace.
yeah,
And what we've done, what you and I have then just done, particularly for Circle to Success, is embedded a couple of online mentoring sessions in the online program. Because as Gartner said, online programs are, if the content is there, they are brilliant. But what makes them even better is if we hold people to account to actually do the
yeah.
work. And all through, as you know from the program, all through each of the modules, it's pause the video here, go to the worksheet, answer these questions. But even better if they know that they're going to get together in 3 months' time with their peers, and they're going to report to their peers, what have they learned? What are the light bulb moments that they've taken out? How have they used these learnings to change and to answer any questions and to share insights with others is really, really, really important.
I think it's right, and also the fact that they've got the ability to meet other people on a program
Yes,
as well,
completely.
build some relationships,
Yeah.
whereas otherwise they can be quite isolated, developing.
But
their
but
own
it's
learning
where the
program.
online program works really well. And one of my clients, they got promoted during the cohort version, and I gave them access to a beta version of the online program because they were suddenly having to pull together a key piece of strategy for a new. It was a it was in the fund manager, but for a new initiative that they were going to be in charge of. And they went, I can't make the strategy session. In fact, I can't make any of the sessions now.
Yeah.
What have you got? And I gave them a beta version of the strategy module, strategy, culture, and agile implementation. And it was a lifesaver because it just helped them to be organized and gave them the almost like an instant hit of leadership insight for the strategy, building the strategy, building a culture, and helping people to deliver it. So that will happen during this course. People will go, oh my gosh, I've got an influencing issue. I'll go to module 6 and do the influencing online, even before we get to the in-person module. So you can go in and out of the online program at any point. You don't have to go through it
Yeah, and
sequentially.
that's what I also love about because working in organizations is not linear. Things happen
Yeah.
and you have to respond, don't you? So the
Yes.
ability to go in and just do a bit of learning and development or refresh your memory about certain things,
Mm.
what actually the online program can give you, allows you to respond and develop at the pace you want, but also at what's going on within the organization. And you might not
Exactly.
want that session that is actually session 6. You might need it now.
Yes, you might need it now.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that was something like, actually that was yet another thing that you brought to the table here, because that had I was very much in a linear frame of mind where you went, no, companies need to be able to dip in and out. So,
And I think
oh,
that's
actually, we haven't mentioned something. We haven't mentioned something really quite important here, which is both versions of the program, the cohort in-person classroom and the online, are approved by the Institute of Leadership. So every delegate gets the 12-month membership of the institute, gets a certificate on upon completion from the institute, and also it's a level 5 qualification from the Institute of Leadership. So I was determined to develop a program in line with what the Institute of Leadership wanted and needed in a program, which was a lot of interactivity and high class worksheets, and of course content that was proven and that worked. So we've done that right from the start. The very first cohort program I designed in not just with heads of learning development with some client organizations and the fund manager particularly, but also with the IOL account manager that I had. Every single module was tested, and they gave some ideas and suggestions along the way.
and that's great, isn't it? Because it gives some rigor to
It does.
both to
Big is the word.
the programs and the fact that
Yeah.
the individual gets that out of it at the end, but the organization also knows that there's a benchmark and rigor behind what they're putting their people on,
Yeah.
is really important. So I think that's been fantastic in terms of the development of the program as well.
Mm.
In terms of how people kind of make connections with us, or how do they get more information, how would they do that?
Well, I believe you're going to put my new Circle to Success email up on the last screen, and also go to the Circle to Success page. But those links, I think, will be after this, where you'll be able to view the trailer to the program. It's a really good video. You'll be able to rewatch this, and it's just a very, very timely program. I'm giving some speeches in Australia next month, and what they want is to influencing during times of change, and we are going through so much change at the moment. And the key point about this program, it helps people to be not just influential leaders leading with influence, but also extraordinary leaders of change, and helping people through the change of AI, the change of the next generations coming through, and changes of climate change, changes of there's so much change going on at the moment, and there always will be change, but the pace of change, particularly with AI, is critical. So we have to have leaders at all levels who are able to cope with change, accept change, embrace it, and influence and lead others to thrive during these challenging times.
No, I think you're absolutely right. If I had a pound for every time we heard, change is a constant, change, the complexity of change and all of those things, then we would all be very rich people. But we're really excited
Yeah,
about running the program, Campbell, on the basis, that this now gives choice and flexibility to organizations, and can maybe get more people on the journey much quicker with both the online and in person. So thank you very much for, developing the program, but also working with us on it and bringing it to C2S members. And as we stated, people on the in person automatically get access to the
absolutely.
online program as well. And those people on the online through C2S also get the mentoring and an in person event to bring them together. So,
Yep.
kind of the best of both worlds in terms of both programs.
And that's an exclusive package just for C2S. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's great. And we'll put details on the back, but people can get hold of you. They can get hold of you on LinkedIn or can have follow up the
Yep.
conversations with you. They can talk to us here at C2S, and we'll be building those opportunities and coming out with more information. So thank you very much, Campbell. And we're
Pleasure.
very much looking forward to the Leading with Influence program. Thank you.